Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, July 8th, 2012. Ricky is dead, and somehow, I don't even know how it's possible, but Genoa City feels somehow more creepy now that he's dead. I don't know why that is exactly, because he was creeping it up the entire time that he was on the show, that he was in town, and now, just especially the day after his death, the whole incident at the hotel, the whole town has this really weird vibe to it, and I have to give one last kudos to Peter Port for his portrayal of Ricky. It was so unexpected, the twists and turns that this character took. I had a reaction to Ricky right off the bat, right away. As soon as he came into town, I was thinking, ugh, he's just, ugh. There was something about him that did give me a visceral reaction. I did not like him. I didn't want to see him on screen. I detested him. And it just unraveled or developed in such an interesting way, and right up until the end, I really believed that Ricky was a psycho, and there was a brief, well, there still is, but there was an element in there that started to develop with Ricky's hotness. I won't deny that I had some moments in there where I was really feeling his hotness, but overall, he was a weirdo from the beginning right up until the end, and it has been, I think, one of my favorite storylines. I really do feel that way, that this has been one of the most compelling storylines that I've seen on the show in a while. I don't think I could possibly have enjoyed it any more than I did, and I'm sad that he's gone. I really am. Except I would not rule out some kind of a twist. Maybe it's the skeptic in me, but until I see a body, I'm just not ready to close the door on this character. But in the meantime, I'm completely loving how this has pushed Paul into the forefront. Paul has been, I think, an underrated character for so long. He's never really, in recent years, had his own storyline where he's the focus, and now he's here. He's right up in our faces. We're feeling so much emotion from him every single episode, and I hope that Paul doesn't just disappear after all of this. I mean, I liked how he disappeared after Ricky's murder. He snuck off to LA to go visit Isabella to try to tell her that their son was dead. Of course, she was just sitting there kind of brushing her hair into infinity, not really understanding anything that he was saying to her. But just in general, I would love to see Paul's story continue on, even after he's acquitted, even after all of this suspicion is cleared, the air is cleared from around him. I would still like to see more of Paul. Like maybe have him have a nervous breakdown or start drinking or something. Just basically, I want more Paul after all is said and done. But for now, Paul is here. He's right up front. I'm loving it. And he has this major shadow of suspicion just cast all over him. And I can completely see why, because from the outside, if you are viewing what he did from a completely outside perspective, it looks like he just lost his mind and killed his son. It looks like he created all of this in his mind, that he created Ricky as a danger, as a threat, that he imagined Ricky's confession, that he imagined that Ricky had a knife in order to cope with what he had done. I just think that's so fascinating, that that's kind of how it could be portrayed from the outside. The fact is, Paul was chasing Ricky around town for weeks, calling the bomb squad on him. That didn't help. It almost seems that it was a perceived threat. And of course, I think that that whole bomb squad thing is going to show up in Paul's trial whenever this goes to trial. If it goes to trial, you can't deny that. He looked like he was chasing a ghost, and it just doesn't look very good for Paul at all. The thing that really ticks me off, though, is that Eden was passed out for the entire confrontation between Paul and Ricky, and she woke up literally a moment after Ricky crashed through the window. So Eden can't corroborate Paul's account of what happened during that final showdown, which is annoying, but at least Eden can attest to the fact that Ricky was trying to hurt her, right? Of course. Wrong. No. Eden has amnesia. Just damn it. I hate amnesia so much. I really do. Every time a character on the show gets amnesia, it makes me want to scream. It feels like such an annoying and obvious plot device. It just drives me nuts. If I had a nickel for every single time someone in Genoa City or on another show has amnesia, I would be a rich, rich woman. Let me tell ya. But it is what it is. At least we have Ricky's butcher knife as proof that he was threatening Eden, right? At least we have the knife. No knife. The knife is missing, you guys, and I'm dying to know what you guys think. Where's the knife, you guys? How hard could it be to find a big old butcher knife hanging out around the body? Where's the knife? It is an important and key question. Someone has to have tampered with it. Someone has to have tampered with the crime scene. The knife didn't just vanish into thin air, and that's what makes me wonder if this entire thing could have been cooked up. I mean, you can't tell me that Daisy has her mysterious disappearance and then Paul gets framed for Ricky's murder and Daniel gets framed for Daisy's murder, and that's all just a big coincidence. It just seems suspicious to me. Especially because I do think that Ricky knew Paul was going to shoot him. Ricky was baiting Paul into shooting him. So maybe Ricky wanted him to, seriously deep down wanted him to. Ricky was sick, twisted, sadistic, and he enjoyed giving Paul pain and suffering, and he saw that as some kind of payback for everything that he went through when he was a child. And what could be more pain and suffering than what Paul is going through now? This is the ultimate pain and suffering. So I just think, for all we know, maybe Ricky knew the gun dealer that Lauren purchased the gun from. Maybe Ricky somehow got in there and paid that gun dealer to give Lauren a blanks. Maybe he paid him to give her like a fake gun or a prop gun, because we can't forget that Ricky did run into Lauren at the athletic club and he saw that she had a gun in her purse. And that cannot be a coincidence. So there's something in there. It plays in somehow, and I'm not exactly sure. But, or maybe after Ricky saw that she had already bought the gun, maybe he somehow switched it for a prop gun or something, switched the gun so that it only fires blanks, and then Paul got a hold of it and Ricky set up the whole thing. Maybe the whole thing was a setup to have Ricky fake his own death, frame his father for his murder, and then Daisy, who's working with Ricky, comes in to swipe the knife, takes it out of the crime scene. just, I don't know if that's it or not. I'm obviously theorizing here, but I think the thing we have to keep in mind is just, don't rule it out, my friends. Don't rule it out that Ricky and Daisy could both still be alive, because remember, we all thought that Kane was dead. Dead for sure. So the investigation is in full swing, and Paul has got some really strong and important people on his side. I am so glad that Nina is back this week. Ronan actually contacted her to let her know that Paul was in trouble and he needed her, and Nina came to the jail and she started supporting him in that scene between Nina and Paul where he is just wrecked. He is breaking down. He is feeling like he's losing his mind in addition to having lost his son. He has so much guilt, just you could see it sitting right on his shoulders. And Nina is sitting there trying to convince himself that he is a good man. Paul has lost all confidence in himself because of the situation, and Nina is saying, you are the best, you're the truest of the true. It was such a powerful scene between them, and of course I'm thinking, Nina should have been here in town a long time ago. Why wasn't Nina here sooner? She should have been around for all of this paranoia with Ricky. It shouldn't have been, I mean, Chris, it was good to see Paul interacting with Chris, but Paul should have not been talking to Avery this whole time. He should have been talking to Nina. And I'm just so glad that she's back. I think that it could have been really cool to see how this tested their relationship, to see if Nina would have thought that he was being paranoid the entire time. But that's not how it went down. Nina just floats right in. She is amazingly supportive. I love Trisha Cast. I love Doug Davidson way more than I have in a long time. I just think Doug Davidson, Trisha Cast, they just seem like good people, don't they? Like, I bet that they're just fun to hang out with. I would love to just go get some dinner or something with them. I can't you just imagine that they're just cool and really chill and relaxed to hang out with. It's so good seeing them back. I'm really loving seeing Paul's chance to shine and seeing Nina being there for him. And I do think it's cool to have Chris back in town. I like Chris. I think there's some, there's always been some mixed reactions on Chris, and there have been times where I've been bored with her, but it's nice to see her now. She's a familiar face, especially when Paul needs that. And I almost cried when when Chris walked into the little holding room where Paul is sitting, and she says, I have decided that I'm going to go on hiatus from my job in Washington because I need to be here to defend you. How great was that? She said, I'm the only one who can speak to your character. Avery's a great lawyer, but I know you, and I'm going to see you through this. It's so good because if you think about it, Paul has been there for everyone, always. Everyone in Genoa City. He's always there to investigate whatever your kid's doing, investigate whatever your lover is doing, and he never asks anything in return. And I want to see Genoa City come together and support Paul for once. And it's nice. Like, I want to see Victor there for him. How many times has Paul been there for Victor? How many times has Paul been there for Nikki? Where the heck is Nikki? Nikki should be visiting him. I want to see a rally around Paul. Let's get into this. It's a good start having Christine around because I thought it was very moving, very touching. And on the other side, even the people who are working, quote unquote, against Paul or who are, investigating are still big fans of his. Ronan and Michael are kind of working on the other side, it seems. But they're just trying to get to the truth. I really do think that. Well, first of all, I kind of want to ask to see if anybody has any opinions on why did Michael seem so hostile toward Ronan at first? Michael seemed as if he was way on top of this investigation with Paul, and then Ronan comes in, starts to want to question Paul, wants to look at the evidence, and Michael was really annoyed with him at first. And I was just wondering, I don't remember there being any hostility between Michael and Ronan. But I guess maybe it might be because Ronan was leading up the case on the Diane Jenkins murder and Michael was defending everyone. I don't know. Was it that, or am I forgetting something, or I don't know. Is it just kind of a typical local police versus FBI sort of thing? I'm not sure what it is, but either way, I was kind of surprised at the first confrontation between Nina and Ronan, where Nina, who believes absolutely in Paul's innocence, cannot believe that Ronan is pursuing Paul, is even having a moment of doubt with Paul. And she even says to Ronan, I thought that we were making progress. Why are you doing this? Is it because you want to get back at me? And I was a little disappointed in Nina for having that reaction, because I don't think that the two are related at all. I personally think that Ronan is not doing anything wrong by pursuing the case. I think we've seen that Ronan would love to give Paul the benefit of the doubt. He would love to believe that he's innocent, and Michael too. They both don't think that Paul did anything on purpose. At worst, they think that he kind of had a breakdown and did what he did, and now he just is confused in his own head. But I don't think anyone in their heart thinks that Paul did it out of maliciousness. And Michael and Ronan just have a job to do. So I don't blame either of them for anything that they're doing right now. But I don't know. By the way, none of these crimes that are going on in Genoa City right now are federal crimes. Ronan has no business being there. He's totally outside of his capacity. Then again, who cares? I certainly don't care. I love seeing Ronan. He can do whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned. He is my big, buttery sex muffin. You know, Daisy could testify to having seen the video of Ricky committing murder. Daisy could certainly get in there and help Paul's case immensely. The words keep ringing in my ears. Avery came to tell Daniel and I think Phyllis the news this week that Paul heard Ricky confessing to Daisy's murder. And Daniel even stopped a moment to ask Avery exactly what Ricky said. And it wasn't that Ricky murdered Daisy. Ricky said he got rid of her. That's exactly what he said. He got rid of her. He confessed to murdering his girlfriend. He confessed to murdering the Greg Hunt guy, but he got rid of Daisy. I cannot ignore that. Daisy was asking Ricky to get rid of her. That's exactly what they had been cooking up, I think, behind the scenes. And as far as Ricky's motive to kill Daisy, I think that Ricky may have known that she was nosing around on his computer. Daisy found that videotape, she saw it, she left the room, and she ran off to call Michael. Ricky comes back into the room, realizes that Daisy was snooping around on his computer, but he doesn't necessarily know that she saw the murder video. He deleted the murder video just in case, but I don't necessarily think it means that he knows what she saw. He definitely doesn't know that she was running off to go meet Michael to tell Michael. So I just wonder if maybe Ricky met up with her just before Michael arrived and convinced her to go through with a bigger plan, a more satisfying plan to frame Daniel for her murder and to help him frame Paul for his. I just don't think she's dead. I just don't think Daisy is dead. Ricky, maybe. There's a very strong possibility that Ricky is dead. But Daisy? No. No. I would have to see a body, and even then I wouldn't believe it. I could be wrong. I just have a feeling. But at the same time, all of Daisy's enemies wish she was dead. There's probably a lot of other people, a lot of fans who wish she was dead. Phyllis and Daniel are at the top of that list. Phyllis and Daniel are kind of glad that Daisy's dead. I don't think any of them they don't want to say it out loud exactly, but that's how they feel. Phyllis went on kind of a rant this week about how she thinks that Lucy is better off with Daisy being dead. And I really wanted to ask you guys that. I wanted to open up that question. Is Lucy better off if Daisy's dead? I don't want to make it sound like I am trying to justify anything that Daisy has done, but is anybody really better off if their parent is dead? I think that is... I just think that that is kind of egotistical on Phyllis's part, assuming that whatever she has to provide has to be better than what Daisy could provide. But Phyllis has been wishing all along that Daisy would disappear. Phyllis has been wishing all along that Daisy never had anything to do with Lucy. Phyllis was walking around kind of pretending that Lucy was her daughter for a while. And you just can't, I'm sorry, you just can't replace a child's mother. And as messed up as Daisy is, I mean, everything she did with Lauren, absolutely messed up. Absolutely messed up. The getting pregnant with Daniel's child, not so uncommon in the scope of Genoa City. That's pretty, actually fairly common. She wouldn't be the first person to drug a guy and get pregnant. Chloe did it, and we all love Chloe. So I just think that since Daisy has come back into town and she's been involved in Lucy's life, she hasn't done anything that I can see that is hugely messed up. I mean, yeah, the Ricky thing, she allowed Ricky to kidnap, or to pretend to kidnap the kid, but I don't know. That doesn't seem, in comparison to things other people have done, doesn't seem that horrible. So I just have a hard time when people start saying stuff like she doesn't deserve to be a mother, or she's better off, the child's better off if her mother's dead. To me, that just, it strikes, it sounds like a big gong going off in my head, and I couldn't help but notice it and talk about it a little bit. And plus, the whole argument that Phyllis made makes me more suspicious of Daniel and Phyllis. There's something happened. I think something happened between Daniel or Phyllis and Daisy. I don't know what it is. Maybe some kind of altercation took place that they think might make them look guilty. I don't think either one of them killed her, but something happened. Daniel had the bruised hand and the blood on the scar, so something. Maybe they confronted her while she was waiting for Michael. They found her and confronted her, and it could have, who knows, maybe Daniel hit something, or whatever it is. Both Phyllis and Daniel are still acting shifty. So something more happened there, and I'm curious to know what you think Daniel and Phyllis are hiding, because it has to be something. But this week we had a lot of other developments, because Ronan and Michael got their hands on the athletic club surveillance tape, which showed Ricky taking a newspaper and actually walking out into the hall and throwing a newspaper into the maid's cart. And they think, that's weird. Why wouldn't Ricky just throw something away in his hotel room? Well, it's because he had Daisy's wallet and her cell phone wrapped up in that newspaper, and he wanted to get rid of the evidence. And the maid, they questioned her this week, and she ended up retrieving the wallet and the cell phone and handed it over to Michael. And again, the words keep ringing in my ears. After whatever happened to Daisy, Ricky goes to the gala, and everybody's buzzing about how Abby has been kidnapped and that she's live tweeting the whole thing from her phone. And Ricky said out loud, "Who kidnaps someone and doesn't take away their phone?" At the time, it was hilarious. I laughed at that line, but now I can't stop thinking about it. It makes sense that Ricky just kidnapped her and got rid of her and took away her phone. I don't necessarily think that it means that he killed her, but it's an interesting little development. Maybe my head's just in that space this week, given the only information that I have, but I can't help thinking about it. The cell phone and the wallet have been retrieved. which just adds more fuel to the fire. Michael and Ronan both, it kind of lets you assume that Ricky had something to do with Daisy's appearance, which does help Paul's case, but more importantly, gets Daniel off of the hook for Daisy's supposed murder. But before that happened, Heather decided to dismiss herself from Daniel's case because of everything that was going on with Paul, and she's also had a past relationship with Daniel, which I don't remember at all. The only reason I even know that that happened is because you guys reminded me. I don't remember it at all. I guess it must have been with the first actress. No clue. Absolutely no clue. I don't remember it in the least. But I am, first of all, two things, wondering if there is going to be a little bit of a Daniel, Heather, Ronan triangle happening here, because we all know that Heather and Ronan, that's absolutely where this is headed. There's going to be some romance between Heather and Ronan, and we're seeing a lot of scenes with Heather and Daniel talking to each other. So I can't help but wonder if there might be a little something working in there. But also, another interesting development is that Ricky's belongings were sent to Heather. She's the next of kin. So I am wondering, where is Ricky's computer? I'm surprised that the police didn't go through it, but Heather is bound to open up that box. She's bound to look at Ricky's computer, and there are still recordings of Phyllis on Ricky's computer saying about how she wished Daisy was dead. So I'm expecting that Heather's going to find that evidence, and it's going to put her in a real awkward position, having to turn over this evidence against Daniel's mom. So that could be pretty interesting, not to mention the fact that it means Ronan will have to go after Phyllis. So that's going to cause some fireworks there too. So it's getting good. I'm not exactly sure where it's going, but it's going to go somewhere. And dare I say it, I like new Heather so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what she's going to bring to the scene. And also, just one other little thing, one other little loose end. When Ricky took that music box present over to Heather's house, he put the present down, but he also planted something up on the windowsill. I think it was a recording device, maybe an audio recording device, or something to watch her. I don't know, but something he put in Heather's apartment, and I want to know what you guys think about that. What was it, other than the gift, that Ricky planted in Heather's apartment? Is Samantha still alive? Because I think Samantha's still alive. I've been saying that forever, though. I said that a long time ago, that Kane's sister is probably still hanging around out there. Of course, Kane got that present at the kid's birthday party last week, and I assumed it was from Colin. Who else would it be from? But now it's been a little bit more revealed that there were two toys. One that was Kane's favorite, one that was Samantha's favorite, and then he got this mysterious email from someone who called him by a childhood name that only Samantha would know. They had little secret names for each other, and the email revealed that. And I don't know, I don't see any other explanation for it. Maybe Samantha was tired of the family drama, so she faked her own death, which, man, is that a theme in this town. How many times have I said fake their own death just this week alone? But maybe Samantha faked her own death to escape life with this mob family, and now she's ready to reveal herself. I think it would be interesting to see Kane's sister coming onto the scene, what the dynamic would be between them now, what the dynamic would be with she and Genevieve. I think the only question on my mind is why now? I would have expected, and when we first talked about this, I thought that she would reveal herself during the whole Kane-Caleb mess, or right when Genevieve first came onto the scene, or when she thought Colin was safely in jail. It's kind of strange that she would choose to reveal herself now, but maybe, who knows, maybe there's some other explanation for her. Maybe Samantha is not alive. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say about that. Who do you think is behind all of this? Is it Samantha, or is it Colin? I doubt it, but maybe it's Genevieve. Or could it be someone else entirely? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Tucker has a new pair of glasses, so I guess Abby can stop making fun of his old glasses. I think and have always thought that Tucker is a really good looking guy. I thought he looked good in his horn rim glasses. I think he looks good in his sassy clear glasses now. I think he's dashing. I'm sure I'm probably alone amongst people in my age group anyway, but I think Tucker is cute. And I thought that there was a really interesting moment this week between Sharon and Tucker. Victor had left Sharon to go off and deal with Abby's nightmare drama, and Tucker had left Ashley to deal with Abby's nightmare drama all on her own. So Tucker and Sharon meet up at the coffee house and they decide to hang out a little bit, and I thought, well, that seems interesting. We all know nobody can stand Sharon and Victor, and we all know Sharon is just gritting her teeth every time that Adam and Chelsea walk into a room together. It drives Sharon up the wall. So she can't have who she really wants. Who she's with is just weird and disgusting. And we all know too that Tucker is going to be newly single since Eileen Davidson is leaving the show, and I hope that they don't try to pair him with Genevieve. So I don't know, maybe Tucker and Sharon, what do you guys think about that? Is there any potential there? You'll have to let me know what you think. Okay, back to the saga that is Abby's life. Has it occurred to anyone else that Abby is doing to Carmine what Angelina did to Kevin? And it didn't work for Angelina. It's not going to work for Abby. All along, for months and months, ever since she met him, Abby has had the hots for Carmine. And I think that she jumped into the trunk of his car, yes, to save face from the horrendous gala disaster, but I think that more than not, I think that was an afterthought. I think her main priority was getting her man. I think she saw it as an opportunity to have a reason to be alone with Carmine, and then she just figured out that she was going to use it as a publicity stunt later on. And now she's going to have to pay the price for that big old publicity stunt. All week I'm watching this unfold and I'm thinking, how can Abby not go to jail for this? Kidnapping is no joke. Nobody has taken it lightly. Plus, I still can't get over, how do we know that Carmine wasn't planning to really kidnap Chloe? How do we know that Carmine wasn't planning to really hurt Chloe? It's kind of being played off as if it's harmless. It was harmless on his part. Abby assumes it was harmless on his part. But how do we know that? Carmine has family mob connections. They did a little bit of a background search on him, and it doesn't seem that he's been caught for anything yet, but that doesn't mean that he's not caught up in it in some way. To me, he seems kind of messed up. Like, hot, but still messed up. So they finally made their way back home this week, Abby and Carmine, and were promptly arrested, and well-deserved. I was so glad to see that Michael and Ronan didn't decide to go easy on Abby, and I was also glad that Victor and Ashley didn't decide to ride into her rescue. She needs to learn to deal with the consequences of her actions, and Carmine he has to in some small point too. Carmine should have ditched her a long time ago. As soon as he found out what she was up to, he should have just ran or fled or gone back to the cops and thrown her under the bus. I'm surprised he didn't, because this whole thing is, it escalated so hugely because of Abby, and you don't want to mess around with Victor Newman's kid. Carmine is shaking in his boots when it comes to Victor, when he actually probably should be shaking in his boots when it comes to Chloe, because she's ticked off. Oh yeah, not to mention that she's married to the brother of the DA. Everyone is pissed. Everyone is pissed at Abby, and they have a right to be pissed. Abby is just taking the whole thing so lightly, like it's no big deal. She's cutting jokes during her interrogation, saying, I think to Ronan, something like, look, I'm sorry that you had to leave whatever donut shop that you were hanging out at to come look for me, but I was doing performance art. Abby, it's unbelievable your level of selfishness. It almost seems, and self-involvement, it almost seems as if Abby is incapable of being anything other than completely selfish. Even without realizing it, she threw Carmine under the bus. She promised that she wasn't going to, that she was going to help him through this, and then as soon as she starts flapping her trap, she ends up doing him wrong. Not to mention the fact that she promised that she was going to get him a lawyer, and then the one lawyer, the one extra lawyer we have is taken, and now Carmine has to use a public defender. You couldn't have found him a better attorney? Just 'cause he doesn't have to use your attorney. Get him somebody else. Just, Carmine got the big time shaft from her. And then Abby starts kind of pleading her own case with total disregard to Carmine. She's just so selfish. I hope she gets, it seems like she's going to get community service and a fine, but I don't know. I'm tired of her getting away with this crap. I'm tired of her pulling these stunts and then getting away with it. It was good to see Rafe, though. I was happy to see Rafe. He's a cool character. I wish that Y&R would develop a story for him. Why? Why won't Y&R develop a story for him? I think that, like, Rafe should steal Carmine away from Abby during the trial. Like, the two fall in love with each other. I would love to see Rafe steal Carmine away from Abby. That would at least be something interesting, something that hasn't happened before. Abby is just screwed up on so many levels. She should have had sex with Carmine while the iron was hot. That's gonna be a new Allyism. Have sex while the iron is hot. Should have had sex while the iron was hot. What the heck? That makes no sense whatsoever. But I love that. That's true though. She should have done it while she had the chance. They had their little makeout session in the hotel room, and then she said, let's just put this on ice until we get back to Genoa City. Why? That kind of intense situation probably would have made the sex even better, but instead she forgoes the sex and gets back to Genoa City, totally screws up even more on top of the original screwed up, and now Carmine hates her. He can't stand her, and frankly no one can look at Abby at this point. Everyone's disappointed in her, and I'm wondering if there isn't a little bit of tragic foreshadowing happening here, because as I think it was Michael or someone mentioned to her this week, you're crying wolf. That's exactly what it is. You're the heiress who cried wolf. And one of these days, you're really gonna need help. You're gonna call out for help, and no one is gonna believe you. I feel guilty for not liking Adam and Chelsea. I know that I should. I feel like I should, but I don't. Adam and Chelsea are so sticky sweet every time I turn around, and I have to be honest, it's just not exciting to me. I did feel bad for Chelsea this week, which is obviously exactly what the writers want me to feel for her. It's all poor Chelsea. The girl just got her GED and she's trying to turn a new leaf. Poor girl. And I get that. But I did feel bad with the way that Victoria jumped all over her when Adam and Chelsea announced their engagement. Victoria was particularly brutal. She was really rude. Clearly, Victoria still feels threatened by Chelsea, and to some extent I understand where she's coming from. For one thing, Chelsea did try to break up her marriage, but I think the larger thing maybe that's chewing in the back of Victoria's mind is the fact that, hey, Chelsea might not be a problem for you and your little family right now, but someday, whether you like it or not, Johnny is gonna want to know about the woman who gave birth to him. He's gonna want to know about the circumstances, and he's gonna possibly want to get to know his birth mother. And Victoria wants to do anything that she can do to prevent that. She is clinging so hard to her family right now. She's lost 2 children. She had Reed taken away from her, and then I believe she had a miscarriage. So it's, and Lucy she had taken away from her. So she is just desperately clinging on to what she has right now, and she just doesn't care at all. She's throwing shade all the way over at Chelsea, throwing shade all the way over at Adam. And the thing about Adam, though, is, like, Victoria's always had a chip on her shoulder ever since Adam came into town from moment 1, but has she completely forgotten that Adam was the one that saved Johnny's life? He rescued Chelsea from the icy waters and delivered Johnny. So Adam and Victoria had a moment of reconciliation, it seemed, and then it just went right out the window again. So I don't know. I feel like Victoria has a lot to learn. The more that she gets all defensive with them and goes on the attack with them, all she does is give them a reason to mess with her. And I don't even think that they want to. I don't think it's anywhere near on either of their minds. I don't think Adam and Chelsea are going to try to take her baby away from her. Unless I'm totally missing something, I don't think that Chelsea even wants the kid back. I don't think that Adam wants the kid back. I would not be surprised if Chelsea got pregnant with Adam's child, by the way, very soon. I want Adam to have a child, but I don't want it to be with her. I'm sorry, I really am. I know there's Adam and Chelsea fans out there, and I try to be positive even if I don't like a couple, but dang, I'm just having a hard time with this one. But I genuinely think that Chelsea is happy to let Victoria and Billy raise Johnny, and she hasn't done anything to make us think otherwise, neither her or Adam. I don't know what you guys think about that, but you can certainly leave me a comment and let me know. I'm just glad that Billy is back in town now so that he can talk Victoria down from the ledge, which is what she needs. He does a really good job of balancing her out. Someone is going to need to talk Gloria down from the edge, because when a DNA test doesn't prove paternity beyond a shadow of a doubt, a heart-shaped birthmark on your inner thigh will. So Anita returns to town this week. She's just with the smell of money. She returns to town. I think that's another reason why I don't really like Chelsea, because I really don't like Anita. I don't like her face. I don't like the way she talks. I don't like who she is. I don't want her anywhere on my screen. I was just thinking last week, I think it was, or maybe earlier this week, as Chelsea starts talking about her family and what kind of wedding they're going to have or whatever, I was just thinking, I am so glad that Y&R did not end up bringing Anita on permanently. I can't stand her. I would never fast forward a scene, but dang, it's tempting. But she's back, whether I like it or not, and she has reminded us all that Jeff is still married to her and that Chelsea is their daughter. Oh, poor Gloria. I don't know what this is gonna do to Gloria. I like Gloria and Jeff together. They make a good couple. Jeff is funny. Jeff's always cracking jokes in the background, and he's a good character. I really like Jeff, and I'm fine seeing more of him, but I just wish Anita wasn't a package deal with that. Anyway, I'm sure that both he and Anita have their eye on the Newman money. Shoot, if Chelsea couldn't marry an Abbott, she married a Newman at least. And luckily, Adam is not dumb enough to fall for any of their stunts. I think they're birds of a feather in a way. But I'm also kind of wondering, by the way, how did Adam even get his money? Because I thought that his hedge fund went under and left him completely broke. That's the last thing I remember, but I could be wrong. Maybe you guys can refresh my memory on that. How does Adam have money? He doesn't have a job, and I thought the hedge fund went under. So Help me out. Leave me a comment. Let me know the deal with that. Either way, I don't even care. I'm ready for Adam to open up his wallet and get involved in some business storylines instead of just playing smoochy face with Chelsea all day. You guys, I just honestly, I never thought I'd say this, but I miss Bad Adam. Okay, that is gonna do it for me for this week, you guys. This is my second week recording from my new house, and I hope that the quality is a little bit better. I've tried very hard to work on the echo this week. Hopefully you don't hear as much of an echo on this week's video. And if there is still echo, I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm gonna keep perfecting it. It's always a little bit of a challenge adjusting to a new place, but I'm doing pretty good considering. Is it incredibly hot where you are? It is incredibly hot where I am. It's never this hot. It's 104 degrees today. I am not a southern girl. I cannot handle 104 heat. I do way better in the cold. If I had to pick one extreme or the other, I could deal with the colder cold than the hot. I'm melting over here. My face is melting off. But I think it's supposed to cool out soon. Is it bad that I'm wishing for fall? All my flowers are starting to wilt. I have to water my flowers twice a day. How much more watering can I do, for crying out loud? But it's all good. It's all good. I love my new house. I'm loving the show right now. I'm totally watching Dallas, by the way. Are you guys still picking it up? Dallas on TNT? Dallas 2012. It's compelling. Plus, there's one of the lead characters on it, the young guy, Christopher, was on Desperate Housewives. He was cute on that, too. And, hey, you can't mess with the classic characters. JR, Bobby, Sue Ellen, even Cliff Barnes showed up, which makes me think that maybe Pam could be close behind. I like the show. It's got good drama. It feels soapy. If you guys like Y&R, which I assume you have, or you do after making it an hour into this video, you should check out Dallas on TNT. It is really good. I'm enjoying it. It's got a lot of the same elements, love and business. You know, that's what we like. So check that out. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about Y&R. There's a comment box below this video, and you should use it. Use as many comment boxes as you would like. So give it to me. Agree, disagree, whatever. You guys are totally good at calling me out, because I'm not always right. I don't always catch everything, and I'm not always completely rounded. Sometimes I'm biased. Sometimes I go off on tangents thinking things for no reasons whatsoever. So it's always good to hear from you. Give it to me, no holds barred. I am looking forward to it. Okay. That's it for me for this week, you guys. I'll be back next time to chat about our show, and we'll chat then. Okay. Bye.